So here's the question that every man should ask himself while dating. But first, let me say this here. If you are dating, it is crucial that you do not date one person at a time unless that one person is your girlfriend or that one person is your boyfriend. So this is a part where some men will ask, but what if I really like her and she stops seeing me because I'm seeing other people? The truth is that she has a very immature view of dating, because the whole point of dating is for it to be a screening process, for you to see who you want to be committed to. Hey everyone, my name is Melissa Rochelle and I'm a holistic wellness and relationship coach. So let's talk about the number one question all men should ask while dating. So I'm going to put a statement up on the screen, and as you read the statement, I want you to pay attention to the very first thought that you have about the statement. So what was your first thought when you read the statement? Did you think that the statistic was false, that it wasn't true, or did you believe the statement? And then ask yourself, why do you want to believe it? And also ask yourself why you don't want to believe it. Some of the biggest mistakes we make in life are the decisions that we make based on our stories. So a story is what you tell yourself is true versus what is factually true. So many men complain that modern women are too independent. And on the other hand, they also complain that modern women bring nothing to the table. So which one is it? What is the biggest complaint that modern men are having about modern women? Is it that modern women are too independent, or is it that modern women bring nothing to the table? So did you always have these beliefs? Did you always believe that women were too independent? Did you always believe that women have nothing to bring to the table? Or are these beliefs that you picked up by watching too many self-proclaimed alpha men on YouTube? Stop letting self-proclaimed alpha men monetize your pain by convincing you that you are not enough, by convincing you that you don't work hard enough. You might just be working hard enough, but you also might be working hard at the wrong things. They love to push and teach this toxic and unhealthy lifestyle that says real men wake up at 4 a.m., they hit the gym, and then they work 36 hours a day, right? But come on, you guys. If you mess with your sleep, you're also messing with your hormones. If you mess with your hormones, you're also messing with your weight and your ability to put on muscle. It is not good advice. It is bad advice to tell men to get less sleep and wake up at 4 a.m. unless they have to get up to go to work. Plus, if you make a habit out of waking up at 4 a.m., do you know who else you're waking up at 4 a.m.? The woman laying next to you. These toxic hustle culture alpha males are messing with your psychological health. They are lowering your self-esteem by telling you don't work hard enough, by telling you you're not good enough, and then telling you that only their plan and their program can save you and turn you into a real man. But do you know what it takes to be a real man? 3 words: locus of control. So locus of control is defined as a person's beliefs about how much control they have over what happens to them in their life, and how much influence they have over what happens in the world around them. So there are 2 types of locus of control. You can either have an internal locus of control, which means you believe that you yourself are mostly responsible for what happens to you in your life, or you can have an external locus of control, which means that you believe other people have more control over what happens to you in your life. So the 3 words for what makes a real man is locus of control, and he has an internal locus of control. He takes control over the events in his life and over his results and his outcomes. It's important that I say here that another man cannot give you identity. Your identity is already within you. You have to look internally to figure out who you are at your core. So whenever you're stuck in a situation where you feel like you're beating up on yourself internally because you don't have a male role model to guide you, here's a tool that you can use. Simply ask yourself this question: what would 55-year-old me do in this situation? What type of advice would 55-year-old me give me for handling this situation? And no, I know it sounds really silly, but it's extremely helpful and it does work. There's this idea out there that being a real man means never needing any help and being able to do everything on your own. But that is not being a real man. That is expecting yourself to be superhuman. So here's the question that every man should ask himself while dating. But first, let me say this here. If you are dating, it is crucial that you do not date one person at a time unless that one person is your girlfriend or that one person is your boyfriend. So this is a part where some men will ask, but what if I really like her and she stops seeing me because I'm seeing other people? The truth is that she has a very immature view of dating, because the whole point of dating is for it to be a screening process, for you to see who you want to be committed to. So the number one question every man should ask himself while dating is, what do I admire about her? You want to look for traits that you admire in her. If she has no traits that you admire, then that right there answers your question. This is not the right person for you. The reason for this is that we form the strongest bond with people that we view as we would want to view ourselves in the future. So how is this person going to help me grow? How is this person going to help me to develop into a better version of myself? So there's this misconception out there that a man must have everything together before he gets into a committed relationship, but this is not the case. He needs to have a vision, yes, which is him asking himself the question, how do I want my life to unfold in the different phases of my life? Having a vision is not, do I have everything that I ever wanted in my life yet? That is not what a vision is. If you think you have to have everything together before you get into a committed relationship, then you are actually removing a very powerful bonding tool from your relationship. There is nothing more powerful than building together. Now, this doesn't mean you should be completely immature and living in your mother's basement. What it means is that you should leave room for her to be a part of your growth process. So here's a Bible reference warning, okay? You do not have to be Christian to understand the point that I'm going to make, but I do want to give a warning that I am about to make a biblical reference. So one of the things that a lot of men say about why women should submit to men is that they say that in the Bible, God calls Eve a helper for the man, right? So she's created to be a helper for the man. But do you know who else God calls a helper for man in the Bible? Himself. God refers to himself as a helper for man in the Bible. So even though the word helper is used for Eve, that does not mean that women were designed and made solely to submit to the will of a man. A man thinking that the only way for him to hold power in his relationship is for him to have total financial control over his partner is a sign of insecurity. He feels unlovable. He doesn't feel like she can love him if he can't provide for her financially. But this is misguided. This is not reality. Financial power is not the only way for a man to hold power in his relationship. And it goes both ways. It goes for the man and for the woman. But here are some other ways that power can be held in a relationship dynamic. Who makes most of the decisions? Who has the most influence over the relationship's future? Which person has the views that carry the most weight? Which person gets their way most often? And which person is the most persuasive? So these are also some other ways that you can hold power in your relationship, in a relationship dynamic. So if you want to hold power in your relationship, learn skills that build trust and recognize her strengths and let her help you. Show her that you know how to make good decisions that yield mutually beneficial results for both of you. My point here is that stop begging for burnout, guys. You do not have to do everything on your own. Let her help you. It's okay. And please do not let the bitter Bobs and the bitter Brendas convince you that all that women care about is money. Remember, if all that women care about is money, then why did women fight so hard to not be under the financial control of a man? So my husband and I were in a couples therapy session once, and our therapist was talking about how society has completely screwed both men and women over by distorting their perceptions of what a man is and what a woman is. And my husband asked her a question about social media, and he was like, yeah, I hear you, but where are all the women on social media that are talking about how much they don't care about money? And my therapist goes and says, they're not on social media going back and forth with anybody. They're minding their own business. You know why? Because they're happy. So this is why I say, do not let the bitter Bobs and the bitter Brendas convince you that all that most women care about is money. It's very hard to ignore things that we see on social media, but remember that bitter people, miserable people, tend to be the loudest, and that's why we tend to think that they are the majority of people. Okay guys, so here it is again. The number one question that every man should ask himself while dating is, what do I admire about her? And some sub questions are, can she help me grow? And in what ways can she help me grow? So it's true that relations between men and women is a complete mess right now. But the good news is things usually have to break in order for us to see where the cracks are so we can find solutions to the problems. So I'm looking for 5 black men between the ages of 22 and 34 to put a focus group together so that we can brainstorm. I want to hear from black men. I want you to tell me what are some of the problems that you're feeling stuck in life, whether it's your personal life, professional life, your dating life, your relationship life, so that we can find some solutions to move forward. Because this situation right now and the advice that's out there from all these single bitter people is not helping men to feel better, is not helping women to feel better, is not keeping relationships together, and it's most certainly is not keeping families together. So it's time that we start to have some productive, effective, and practical solutions to the problems that we are having. I'm going to go ahead and link my website in the description, and you can contact me there if you're interested in being in the focus group. And also remember, if you found this information to be helpful, remember to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you.